Then you find the real Book of Abraham. You're able to study the actual thing. You have somebody like Robert Ritner write an excoriating series of chapters about why this isn't, a sacrifice and why it's not what Joseph Smith represents. You're painted into a corner, and then you can't use secular modernity to get your way out of it. You have to then use ideology or just lie to people. Just lie. Get your PhD. Say, I have a PhD from UCLA. I have a PhD from UPenn. And then you go to people, you say, I have this PhD. Would I lie to you with this PhD? I've been given this by the halls of modernity, the halls of secularism. They granted this thing to me. I'm looking at the same documentation. Those people aren't telling you the truth. I am. And so now it's like they're using the same tools of secular modernity. And it's, it is, in my opinion, blowing up in people's faces. But it's interesting to see the conversation evolve in that way. It was one tactic that Mormons in high positions of power obviously tried to do because they helped to fund these PhDs, send these young men out to, and sometimes women, out to different universities to get these scholarly accoutrements, and then to go out back to the Mormon fold. That's where they exist. They bring them back to Brigham Young, or they go to Brigham Young, Hawaii, or someplace, some temple space, and then they become those people who use their secular modernity little tokens to say, oh no, this is actually real. It's actually true. And when somebody like me points out, wait, you're lying, then I'm, anti-religious freedom. But it's fine.
Susan Sontag had a very famous essay called Against Interpretation, which I will put in our show notes for everybody to read. So for Sontag, when you look at ancient documents or something that someone else made, and you say, well, this is what it really means, and then you invent your own, version of it, and that is completely divorced from what they intended. She's saying, look, you can't do that. You need to read ancient documents how they were intended to be by human beings and what they wanted. And so, and this sort of neo-Orthodox interpretation of the Book of Abraham is doing the same thing. What they've done is that instead of saying, well, okay, yeah, even though it says in the Book of Abraham that this was written by Abraham's own hand, even though it says that, well, it actually wasn't Abraham who wrote that scroll. It was some later Jewish scribes who were just copying it.
It's extraordinary. I mean, it's almost like you have a spirit guide who's like, no, you're not ready to know that information yet. This is the information you can know, which means it can always change. So it doesn't, it's a floating narrative that never can be pinned down. But I know Egyptologists who got PhDs in topics specifically associated with the Book of Abraham, I'm sure, to prove it right, as you were thinking when you were a Mormon and in the Egyptian class. You're like, oh, we're going to, I'm going to see how this is right. And these people are people like Carrie Milstein, John Gee. They are accepted into the halls of Egyptological power because they're willing to do service. Mormons are really good at service. They roll their sleeves up. They can do a spreadsheet. They can organize things. Mormons are very good at this. Yeah. You would agree?
Yeah, I credit them for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you're willing to do service that a lot of people in this dying higher education system can't take on. And so you see them running committees and in important positions of power with an a priori agenda of using that power to further proselytize. But this idea of truth, capital T, truth, what is that? You were asking me, how do you use ancient Egyptian sources? We're never going to find a capital T truth for all of this stuff. No. You're just walking around in the dark, feeling around, trying to get the best understanding of the story that you can. And you're not trying to find capital T truth. They're dead. They're gone. It's about us. We're doing it for us. We're not doing it for them. We're doing it so that we can figure out our place in the world. I'm not telling all the historians in the world to go and make up shit because it doesn't matter because it's all about us. No, we're trying to find what kernels of truth exist in this narrative to help us to muddle through the world that we're in now.